Okay, welcome today for clicking on the Leadership podcast here. No, it's not a podcast. It's a YouTube channel. And so we're taking 5 minutes where we open the doors up to every volunteer, every leader to be a part of our staff meeting for 5 minutes to talk about one principle or one value that we're talking about today. Now today, this value I think is going to be challenging for some, especially if you're kind of task-oriented. And for some that are people-oriented, you're going to probably say amen because you just love this value so much. And the value that we're going to be talking about today is simply people over task.
Amen.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. People over task. So the idea of people over task doesn't mean that the task isn't important, because a sermon does need to get preached this weekend. The computer one person needs to click the buttons. The sound person needs to adjust the volume and needs to do all the different stuff. So I don't want us to take it so far that we think the task can be neglected. No, we have to stay focused on our job. But I'm saying in the midst of this, the church is not in the task business, but it's in the people business. What good is preaching a sermon if no one's there? What good is having a great band playing and everything and no one shows up? It's about people over task. So a few examples I want to give us to what I mean. So I think for every ministry, it's going to, the whole spectrum of task and people, you have to be careful, because I need the sound people to be at their positions when service starts. We need the computer people to be ready when service starts. But when it comes to when you're not at your position, I think whether you're in the band, whether you're on the soundboard or whatever, you can still be hospitable. You can still smile before you get to your soundboard. You can still just be welcoming. And I think that is a value I think everyone needs to have. Let me give you an example of what I mean when people do need to be a priority over task is, for example, if a greeter is handing out bulletins, I want them to feel the freedom that if they see a person in a wheelchair, to put the bulletins down and help move maybe a chair so that person in the wheelchair can have a nice place to sit. So again, the task is passing out the bulletins, but the person is needing assistance. And so I want that greeter to feel empowered to see people over task. Does that make sense? So if that means if someone is asking where the bathroom is, one of the things that we like to tell people is don't just point and direct, walk and talk. Show them the way. This was a value that actually Disney presents to their employees or their cast members, that they say don't just point, they say direct and talk. So if it means if someone's distressed and someone needs prayer, you should feel empowered to pray. So we all have a task to do. If you're making lattes in the hub, or you're setting up flags, you're playing an instrument, we all have to remember that the church is not a task business, but it's the people business. And what good is the task if no one shows up? Now the reason why I bring this up, because I think in some aspects we do this well, but there was one weekend where we didn't do this well. There was a family. They were in service, the first time I ever saw them in service, and I was trying to get to them to shake their hands. And as I was going to go shake their hands, I was getting kind of blocked and pathed by people, and so I saw them get up and leave, and I thought, well, maybe they're going just to get some coffee. And so after I'm done having the conversations, I go to see them to see if they're in the coffee shop. They left. And it kind of broke my heart, because I feel like this is a value we all appreciate. But you can never take for granted that someone's first time may be sitting there, and maybe they're saying to God, I'm giving you one chance. This is why we should prioritize people over task. Yeah. So this weekend, let's be on cue. Whatever the task is, yes, it's very much important, but let's focus on before we doing the task or in between doing the task, be hospitable, be welcoming, and make a difference for Him. Right?
Right.
Good.